JBN, we keep you informed. Southside under attack. Family members call for ceasefire. The police have increased their presence in the area of central Kingston known as Southside after 4 men were gunned down in 3 separate incidents over the weekend. The bloodshed has prompted a family member of 2 of the men who died to make a public call for an end to the bloodshed. The family member, Shane Morgan, is one of the founders of the popular cultural destination in the community, Life Yard. Shortly after 7 Friday evening, residents of Fleet Street in Southside were sent scampering when armed men opened fire. When the shooting ended, 30-year-old Andrew Morgan, otherwise called Pang, was left suffering from gunshot wounds. He was rushed to the hospital where he died hours later. Less than 24 hours after Andrew was killed, another Morgan was gunned down. 41-year-old Leaford Morgan, otherwise called Ice, was among 2 people killed on McQueen Street when armed men opened fire. A 22-year-old mechanic, Keith Morrell, otherwise called Eddie, was also shot and killed in this incident. The 4th victim is 20-year-old Kemar Myers, otherwise called DeMarco. Myers was shot and killed close to his home on Stephen Lane in what's believed to be a reprisal killing. In a Facebook post, Shane is mourning the killing of his brother Leaford and his cousin Andrew. Shane is denouncing the cycle of killing in the community. Murders have more than doubled in the Kingston Central Police Division over the last year. Up to November 16, 2018, there were 15 murders in the police division. Over the similar period this year, there have been 34 murders. Suspected suicide in Seaview Gardens, St. Andrew. 59-year-old Arlington Hines of Eagle Pathway in Seaview Gardens, St. Andrew is suspected to have committed suicide at his home on Monday. The police report that about 11:15 a.m., a relative found Hines hanging from a grill with a sheet tied around his neck. The police were summoned and he was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Teachers burnt out and fed up, says Anderson. Immediate past president of the Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, Dr. Garth Anderson, has said that a change in a regulation by the Ministry of Education of not allowing 10% of teachers from different schools to be granted study and vacation leave is severely affecting the health and well-being of the island's teachers. Anderson was addressing over 150 teachers at the half-yearly meeting of the St. Catherine branch of the JTA held at the Marley Acres Church of Christ in Old Harbour, St. Catherine last Friday, said that teachers who have accumulated vacation leave and those eligible for study leave are burnt out and fed up and are unable to perform in the best interest of students. According to Anderson, there is a situation where some 5 years ago, it was a policy of the Ministry of Education that 10% of teachers from different schools who meet the qualifications would be granted study or vacation leave. We don't have this any longer. What we have is an average of 5% and under for teachers being granted vacation and study leave across the system, Anderson disclosed. According to him, this situation is creating a problem because many teachers are losing their vacation leave, which cannot be accumulated, and there is no guarantee that the ministry would pay them. Our argument is that if we continue with this policy, very soon, we're going to have tired teachers in the system, not being able to operate at their optimum, and you will be getting diminishing returns. You noted that it is a pressing problem for the JTA because the ministry is saying that the regulation states that it is up to 10%, and this means that it could be less than 10. We will continue to make the point to the ministry to look carefully at the policy it has taken on in recent years because it is not working out in the best interest of education, and our young people are going to suffer and ultimately the progress of the country, he asserted. Turning to the issue of an earlier call by the Association for Government to appoint a portfolio Minister of Education, Anderson said that the JT has not given up on the request. We are fully aware that it is the government's call to appoint the Education Minister, so while we wait, we are working with the acting minister to ensure that policies and programs are promoted in the best interest of the education system and to the benefit of our children, he said. Opposition raises alarm over massive RADA scandal. The opposition says it has presented to the Auditor General information about what it calls a scandalous misuse of public funds of massive proportions. According to the opposition, there are serious issues of concern surrounding the rehabilitation of the Farm Roads program undertaken by the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA. It said the overall budgetary provision for farm roads island-wide was approximately $470 million for 2017 to 2018. However, in St. Thomas alone, total contracts were prepared in the amount of $1.6 billion in that same year for bushing only, according to the opposition. Additionally, the opposition says its investigation revealed that rates paid in these contracts were higher than those paid by the National Works Agency, NWA, for the same work. According to the opposition, bushing contracts were being done at a rate of $10,380,000 per kilometer under the RADA Farm Road Program, which it says is in contrast to $150,000 per kilometer paid by the NWA for bushing. The opposition says it can confirm at least two instances, noting that the difference between the NWA's rate and RADA's rate is over 6,000%. The opposition says it has submitted all it has uncovered to the Auditor General's Department, which it wants to conduct a full financial audit of the program. A performance audit by the department found that RADA paid scant regards to government guidelines in the awarding of contracts valuing hundreds of millions of dollars. Among other things, the audit, which was tabled in Parliament in October, stated that RADA's process of selecting contractors was not always transparent or competitive. The opposition also wants the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency to undertake a thorough forensic investigation. It says Prime Minister Andrew Holness, at the minimum, should ask Ministers Shaw and J.C. Hutchinson, who have portfolio responsibilities for RADA, as well as the authority's Board of Management, to step aside until the investigations are completed. Advocates expressed concerns over remaining children at religious sect in Norwood, St. James. Children's advocates last week remained concerned for the safety of dozens of youngsters who remain at a compound in Montego Bay, St. James, as allegations of child abuse and human trafficking at the communal settlement are investigated. More than a week after the security forces stormed the Kwal Yahweh sect in Norwood for the second time and took into custody 3 children, including a pregnant teen, there are reports of discontentment within related agencies over the handling of the matter. The incident brings the number of children taken from the compound to 6, but dozens more minors are reportedly among the 120 people still living on the premises. Last week, sect leader Omar Thompson copied an 8-page letter to several government agencies, including the Office of the Prime Minister. He also released a video promising damnation on Jamaica as he attempted to clear the sect of the allegations. Such actions have raised red flags for at least 2 childcare advocates who chided the authorities for dragging their feet in ensuring the protection of the remaining children at the facility. We need to hold all the agencies accountable. We have to hold the police accountable, all the other agencies, not just 1 or 2. Where's the fulsome investigation on the part of everyone? Asked a concerned worker who declined to be named owing to his closeness to the probe. If you look at the video that has been published and the letter, you will see that there are clear issues at the facility. I am very concerned for those children, he said, recalling the aggression meted out of the armed security forces by tussling church members. We have to hold the Ministry of Education accountable. Public health needs to be on board. It's a place sanitary. What are their roles? Bottom line is that we don't know what these children are being exposed to, he said, noting that children in such situations are usually brainwashed into silence, especially when their parents are complicit. The advocate pointed to similar facilities in Jamaica where children have been exposed to religious practices and contravene social customs and childcare, such as the rejection of immunization and other medical interventions. Founder of Child's Right group Hear the Children's Cry, Betty Ann Blaine, last week blasted the government as she questioned the mental and physical state of the children at the Kwal Yahweh Church compound in Norwood, St. James. There are so many questions that have to be answered, and I'm extremely surprised and disappointed that children are still on the compound. That, to me, doesn't make any sense, Blaine argued. There are serious allegations that are being leveled against this particular group. Why would you want to keep children there? She continued. Those children should have been removed while the investigation is taking place. That way, we know that the children are absolutely safe. How do we know what's going on with these children? Is there someone monitoring them every day? What is the latest in the investigation? What about the pregnant teen investigation? She said. Successive governments have done very poorly so far as protecting our children in a general way, she said. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, leave us a comment and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.